you're ready, Carl, we'll go through NXT.
So I'll have a bit.
Now, you might notice, Carl, because you get to see our notes, right, that there's a lot of negative in terms of the match card. So when I talk about the match card, first of all, this was a weird week for me because I think there was a lot of stuff built up, and I think it leads well to stuff going forward, but not very good on the match front itself. So we start out with a highlight for me of the night was an NXT tag title match between Imperium and Breezango. Then we move on to Damian Priest versus Killian Dane for some reason. We saw Xia Li go up against Aaliyah again for some reason. We saw Caden Carter versus Dakota Kai. Okay. Leon Ruff going up against that Bronson Reed fella, which was a typical squash. And then we end with the women's tag team title match with Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox, who are now a tag team, or a more established tag team, going for the titles at least, against Banks and Bayley. So, looking back at the first one, the NXT tag title match, Imperium versus Breezango. Imperium took the win, rightly so. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the match. There were shenanigans at the end that sort of got the inclusion of, I want to say, it's Danny Birch. I keep forgetting his first name. And Oni Larkin.
Yeah, Danny Birch. Yeah.
And who was the other tag team who jumped in on that one? Oh, I keep forgetting their name. Indus Sher, Malcolm Bivens' two big fellas. Yeah. So it basically just looks to beef out the interest in the tag titles. So I'm all for it, but I like to see Breezango back anyway. I think they put on a really good match. The four of them put on a really good match together. So that match in particular is a plus for me. Damian Priest and Killian Dane. The Priest took the win. And that was probably one of the things that kind of ruined the match for me. It wasn't a bad match, not the best those two have had together, but Priest has just come off losing to Balor, and I think it probably would have made more sense to give Dane the win, because I don't think they really know where they're going with Priest anyway at the minute, so why not give Dane the rub and see if you can get somewhere with that, you know? So that was a bit of a negative for me. Xia Li versus Aaliyah, and I'll mention this on the O'Shites, but it was an okay match, but the sort of this thing around it with this Robert Stone stuff is just a bit of a miss. So that was a bit of a negative for me. It was a bit of a nothing match with it in the interest of building that sort of thing. So a bit of an odd one really. Similar with Caden Carter and Dakota Kai, wasn't a bad match, but it didn't really do a lot for me in terms of development story wise. So that gets a negative from me. Leon Ruff and Bronson Reed was a typical squash. Bronson Reed's come in as this big fella, and he took a loss last week to the cowboy guy, Cameron Grimes. I don't want to dismiss it. Cameron Grimes, his name is, and this week he's squashing Leon Ruff, who, to be fair, he completely outsizes the fella, but it was just a bit of a shame that it's been booked in such a way. You can't book him as a monster after giving him a loss the previous week. It just all that served to do is made Leon Ruff look stupid. So that one gets a negative from me. But the last match of the night, and you might be surprised because I've been bitter about them having the belts from the off, but the women's tag title match, Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus Banks and Bayley, was a really good match. They all put a really fucking good show on, to be fair. No fucking about, no shenanigans. The win went as you expected. It went to Banks and Bayley. But there was a bit of an oddity at the end, which was no discredit to the match. I might as well mention it now because we'll be moving on to highlights and lowlights. But we saw... oh wow, what names is Io Shirai. Wow, I forgot her name for a second. Io Shirai just come in at the end and sort of take out Banks and Bayley while they were celebrating. I'm not sure what that serves to do. I found that a bit strange, other than saying, I'm the women's champion here and this is my house or whatever. But it's like, okay, are they setting up something there? I don't know. They weren't really clear on that. So moving on. So those are the matches, Carl, and you'll notice only two in that card that I actually say were good matches. But in terms of the stuff that happened around it, like the highlights for me, we had first one, Breezango's entrance. Did you see this, Cal? This was fantastic. They impersonated Imperium, called themselves Emporium, and just totally mimic their entrance with a bit more flair, which I thought was fantastic. I love the fact that they're a really good tag team. They work well together. They put on good matches. They're legitimate in the ring, but they still have a bit of a laugh. And it's not like oh look, he fell over or he's fat, or that kind of crass humor. It's actually quite funny stuff. Like that whole impersonation was spot on. It was a really good bit of humor, and it sort of balanced this very sort of dry and serious tag team in Imperium. So I fully enjoyed that bit. And again, another highlight for me of the night was the interest in the tag division as a whole is really good. I'd like the look of this as much as I've sort of dismissed them in the past and called them the Nusos and so on like that. Indus Sher do look really good. They look legitimate monsters. Lorcan and Birch they've obviously been in the scene for a while, and Breezango being back again. All I don't know where they're going to go with it in terms of who gets the number one contender shot, but I love the fact that we've got all these moving parts in the tag division now, and it just adds this sort of interest in there. Because since Imperium got the titles, I've not seen much of it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's nice to get a bit of meat on the bones for the tag titles now. So yeah, fully enjoyed that sort of inclusion at the end. I'm not usually one for shenanigans, but it didn't affect the match quality. It was just a bit of a bit at the end, And I'll be honest, I was a massive fan of. We had this. What do we call him now? We'll call him Santos, the former Phantasma. Who's now turned heel, came face to face with Drake Maverick, and basically beat the living shit out of him. And I'm loving to see the way this is going, because he's clearly going full heel. He's got this little team behind him, and as much as it was a bit like, what's been the point in this heel turn so quick? Drake's really selling it from his point of view, and I can see this payoff being really good. I don't know if they're going to go as far as giving Drake the cruiserweight title at the end of this story, but I'm all for it. I think the feud seems to have a lot of good build to it, because we've obviously seen the tournament, we've seen the betrayal at the end, and we've now seen this sort of the absolute beatdown really from these three. So I fully enjoyed that as another highlight of the night. As for the O'Shites, Carl, I've mentioned already that Killian Dane losing to Damian Priest was not great for me. I feel like they could have given Dane the win and hopefully give him some momentum, because I've not seen him do much on the NXT scene at the moment. The other one, again, slightly mentioned, but Robert Stone. I don't know if you've paid much mind to Robert Stone, but he's sort of lost his shit since losing. What's their name?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green, thank you. Chelsea Green fired him, and he kind of lost it. So he's still dishevelled and whatever, to the point that he was now throwing up during Aaliyah's match. And it's just one of them where it's like, I get it, him and Aaliyah are probably inevitably going to work together or something, but it's like, I don't know what they're going for with this. Like, right, so you're a professional manager or coach or whatever, but the minute you lose a client, you just fully ruin your fucking life, and you become a dishevelled mess. Okay, I guess. Not a fan of that sort of approach either, when it's like, let's have them vomit. It's up to you with like throwing piss, isn't it, really?
Until Fox.
Until Fox. So wasn't a big fan of that element. I know they're trying to build something story-wise with Aaliyah and Robert Stone, because he's been interested for a while, but that whole sort of approach they've got with the way Robert Stone is at the minute, I'm not a big fan of. And this one, you might disagree with me on, Carl, because I gather from what I've been reading, it's been a big plus for a lot of people. But last week we saw Karrion Kross make it clear that he's interested in going for Adam Cole. So naturally this week we're going to address that a bit more. So they say to Adam Cole, they ask Adam Cole about this, and Adam Cole's like, he's not proved himself on the show, he's not going to get a shot at my title, I'm not scared of him, etc. So you think, right, this is where we're going to build this program. We're going to have Karrion Kross versus Adam Cole inevitably, and then Adam Cole comes out to the ring, and it randomly devolves into Keith Lee's coming out because Adam Cole wants to go for Keith Lee. Johnny Gargano comes out because Johnny Gargano wants to go for Keith Lee. Then Finn Balor comes out because Finn Balor wants to go for Keith Lee. And then Finn Balor makes it quite clear that once he's got Keith Lee's title, he's coming for Adam Cole. So it's like, okay, so where does Karrion Kross fit into this? Well, guess what? He fucking doesn't. So they're all having this little debate. And William Regal pipes in and suggests that next week, which again, I'm looking forward to the match next week. I just feel like, why did we even mention Karrion Kross? Regal announces that there's going to be a triple threat match next week. Johnny Gargano, Keith Lee, and Finn Balor. And the winner of that match will take the North American Championship, but not just take that. They will also get a shot at Adam Cole, and the winner of the match between Adam Cole and whomever is the champion at that time is going to come away with all the gold. You know, it's for all the marbles. So we could eventually down the line see Adam Cole with both the North American and the NXT World Championship, or we could see him lose his longest, this 300-odd day run he's got, to whomever is the champion. So, you know, you could see a wild card thing of like Finn Balor takes all the belts. You could see Keith Lee, you know, couple his enormous run with the North American Championship by taking the NXT Championship, or you could see Gargano upset everyone and win belts when nobody really wants him to. I don't know. But the most annoying thing for this for me, and there's a reason that it's not in me highlights and it's in me lowlights, is the fact that why even start the Karrion Kross thing? Because he did not. It was not a factor at all in this. The only thing I can think is they're going to have Karrion rock up at either the triple threat match or the subsequent title match, which is, you know, it's fine, but it's like, well, why even start it now? Why not? You could have had that interruption out of nowhere down the line. Why even mention him last week? So
yeah, it seemed a bit weird.
And the last shite for me, Carl, was Dexter Lumis. I still don't know where you are with this. I know you're a big fan of him, but he made a little drawing of him and Velveteen Dream holding the tag belts, only to be rebuffed by Dream saying that they're not a team. What do you make of that? I think that feels a bit naff.
I think that's the way they're going to go. I think they probably will have Lumis and Dream.
Well, you say that. I mean, you never know. Dream might not be in the company long enough. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Assuming all goes tiggity-boo.
That's it.
That's where they're going to go. So, yeah, I think they go for that, like, oddball kind of tag team.
Mm. So, yeah, it was a bit of a weird NXT for me, this, because it sounded like quite a negative one, but it's still doing stuff. It's still building stuff really well. So we're still getting, like, I am looking forward to the triple threat next week as much as I was annoyed with the Karrion Kross thing. I am looking forward to the subsequent title v title match. The tag scene is looking really good. There was a lot of good build, but there was a lot of weakness there. So for me this week, it's a 2.5, similar to oh no, not similar to Raw, because Raw got a 2. So 2.5 for me, Carl. And I don't know if you want to, because I've sort of ran through that, but I don't know if you want to mention anything in particular that I might have missed, or obviously just one off your rating, whichever.
Yeah, no, I don't think you missed anything as such. I think I was pretty similar, but I think I went for the slightly lower 2. I just don't think the match quality was there. I think the Sasha and Bayley versus Shotzi and Tegan match was pretty good. I think the other tag match was pretty good with Breezango, but the rest of it just felt like a lot of filler to me.
That's the trouble. It was very much filler. Yeah. Like I wasn't invested in any of the others.
For that reason.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. Okay, then. So that's NXT.
This week's episode is brought to you by Floriday.co.uk, where you can get all the latest news about Florida, Disney, and Universal Studios, as well as valuable tips and touring plans to get the most out of your Florida holiday. That's Floriday.co.uk, the sunshine state of mind.
Well, hello, Carl and Anthony. Hey, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley saying hello. What a beautiful afternoon it is. Wow, gorgeous May afternoon. There's a view of the river at the Foley compound. Just want to say hello to you guys and let you know that I'm looking forward to listening to you on A to the K, the podcast. I am not yet exposed to much in the world of podcasting, but I think I'm going to start. I hear great things about you guys. I appreciate you being fans. I'm going to go out on a limb and just guess that you guys are big wrestling fans, so I'm going to thank you for your support over the years. Have a nice day.